Hi, I'm the holy horrible horror hole host of Horror Hole, Cody Briscoe, and welcome to this video. In this video, we're going to be counting down every single horror movie I saw in 2025 and ranking them from worst to best. A few movies didn't make the cut. Sorry, Heart Eyes, I just had no interest in seeing you. So, I'm not going to go super in-depth for every movie because I have 27 movies to get through, but yeah, let's start the ranking, and let's start at the very bottom. In last place is War of the Worlds, released this year, starring Ice Cube and, was it Brandon Pena? Who the fuck was in that movie? This is a COVID shot movie and was very clear from within the first 5 minutes that was the case. When this trailer dropped for this movie over Twitter, pretty much everybody was like, oh god, this looks like complete shit. And I watched it, and it was. That said, it is some of the most fun I've had this year. I could not justify ranking it any higher than Dead Last because it is truly awful. That said, it was a very good time at the movies. I laughed a fair bit at it. The climax of this movie is maybe the stupidest thing I've ever seen. So yeah, highly recommend. In 26th place is The Strangers Chapter 2. I kind of saw this movie out of obligation because, well, I mean, I saw the first one, and it was bad, and I had no interest in the sequel, but I still had to see it because they filmed 3 movies back-to-back. And usually the second entry in a trilogy is, like, really exciting and interesting. You know, it's where the characters get to their lowest point, and they have to face a bunch of obstacles. This movie had no story. It was just a 90-minute chase scene through a hospital, pretty much. And, like, look, I like Halloween 2. I like the opening of Rob Zombie's Halloween 2 remake. A whole movie of a hospital chase just does not work, and I was falling asleep.
There's no way that'll work.
In 25th place is Five Nights at Freddy's 2. Another big misfire. I did not like that first movie. Shout out to the episode we did on Horror Hole about the first movie. Please check that out. I was like, okay, where do you go from here with a sequel to this movie? Because already the characters and story are demonstrably not working, and Scott Cawthon's writing is not up to par. And then the sequel is solely written by him, so, you know. Blumhouse literally needs to put a chain and a lock on the door to the writer's room to bar Scott Cawthon from getting in. The story was confusing and meandering. I couldn't tell what the stakes were or what was happening, where the characters were. It was a shit thrown on the screen. The animatronics and the lore, if that's a thing you care about as an 11-year-old, then sure, you might like seeing a thing you recognize on a movie theater screen. But other than that, the movie has, like, absolutely nothing to offer.
We are not gonna die today.
At number 24 is the reboot for I Know What You Did Last Summer. I went into this movie with low expectations, not because I thought the movie itself would be bad, but just because I have never liked any of the I Know What You Did Last Summer movies. The TV show might be good. I haven't watched it. It did get canceled. This movie kind of feels like a joke to me. It is every single trope of the horror legacy sequel condensed into one movie, and nothing that it does is interesting or exciting. And I think it ruins what little bit of characterization that worked in the original movie. So yeah, I don't see fans of the original being pleased with this. It was, yeah, I didn't like anything. I thought the script and the dialogue was especially awful and felt tacky and dated. Like, there are some fucking lines in this movie that, like, feel like they are straight out of 2014. But hey, there's a post-credit sequence that hints at maybe we'll do another movie that has things that people might actually want to see in it. So, you know, you just gotta come watch this first bad movie in theaters to make that movie happen.
You having a good night?
In 23rd place is Fear Street Prom Queen. I was a big fan of the Fear Street trilogy they did a few years back, directed by Lee Janiak. And this movie does not have her involved, so I was already kind of had a feeling that this would not be up to snuff. This movie was not good, I will say that, but I do think it was a little bit overhated, and I think it actually kind of got better towards the end. but for the most part, it was just completely kind of forgettable. I think the 80s nostalgia thing has ran its course. I think people are sick of it. I was hoping that Maxine would be the death knell for that subgenre. Now Stranger Things is over. So I would be happy if the 80s nostalgia bait is, lessened in the coming years.
Riley.
And number 23 is Shelby Oaks, which was written and directed by Chris Stuckman, a fellow YouTuber who is like a film critic, and he kickstarted the movie. I did not follow any of the drama related to the Chris Stuckman situation. All I know is that people were like, listen, you can't criticize this movie because it was crowdfunded, and this is what people want, right? Original ideas and stuff. So like, yeah, I can get behind that. Let's support indie movies and stuff. This movie was a pretty forgettable documentary style movie. And part of me was like, you put all this effort and care into getting your first movie made, and then the product you deliver is just kind of a paint by numbers story that could have been made at any point, so I just wasn't a fan. And maybe if Chris Stuckman gets to do another movie, it'll be better, but I mean, I have no interest in seeing it. I could be getting these numbers wrong, so forgive me, but I'm pretty sure in 21st place I have Megan 2.0, which, this doesn't really count as a horror movie, but it is a sequel to a horror movie, and it has the same characters, so I felt obligated to include it. The first Megan movie was fine. It was just a campy PG-13 horror movie, but the sequel did that thing where, okay, the first one was popular, and it became popular kind of organically. So for the sequel, we're going to heavily lean into the things that people liked about the first movie because we think that will guarantee a successful box office run, which this movie did not have. I feel like a lot of the problems with this movie come to pandering. It feels like this movie was made like, oh yeah, we're going to make this movie. We're going to have Oops, I Did It Again in the trailer as a song. We're going to get all the gays in the theater to see it. The problem is, corporations cannot force gay people to like anything. Gays hate everything until we decide we ironically like something, and then we just decide we unironically like that thing after it is repeated ad nauseum throughout the community. Yes, that was off topic, but I feel like that was a central problem with the movie, is just that it was like a prepackaged product made for a group of people to like, and then that group of people was immediately able to sense out the phoniness behind it. And yeah, it's a shame. We'll probably never get another Megan movie.
That's all that matters to me.
The Toxic Avenger.
In 20th place, we have the Toxic Avenger remake, which came out. This movie was shelved for a couple years, I think. They had filmed it, and then it just put it in a vault. It was chained up to a wall in a castle, and that was already a bad sign for me. Just went through that with freaking Salem's Lot last year, and that movie I was really not happy with. I kind of went into this movie skeptical, and it was better than I thought it would be. I'll give it that. But I just feel like it is impossible to make a movie called The Toxic Avenger and actually live up to what The Toxic Avenger is. The Toxic Avenger is a very mean-spirited, offensive, stupid movie, but it also has an earnest sense of fun to it, and it's very easy to laugh at. It's enjoyable. It tells a cute little superhero story, but just because of the tone and the subject matter of the movie, you just could never make a movie like that today. So they kind of don't. They focus more on the characters. They're like Peter Dinklage and Jacob Tremblay and Elijah Wood are in this, which, I mean, they're fine, but it's just, I don't go to a Toxic Avenger movie to watch A-list actors. I just don't know. I think it was a interesting idea creatively. I will say that the actress who played the Toxic Avenger in The Suit did a very good job. I didn't know that wasn't Peter Dinklage, but she just great actor, great job from the stunt performer. But yeah, it's just the movie was funny enough. The gore was interesting, but I liked a lot of other things way more this year than the Toxic Avenger.
Maybe Death's not actually coming for our family, because that would be crazy.
In 19th place, probably somewhat controversially, I have Final Destination Bloodlines. I was looking forward to this movie. I like the Final Destination series, and it's been a long time since we've had one. I think there was talk about doing something about like first responders or something, and I thought that would have been an interesting idea for one of these movies. So Bloodlines, I honestly was kind of disappointed with it. The death scenes were cool. I like the idea of setting a Final Destination story around a whole family. I don't think they did enough with that idea. And I think the tone of this movie was kind of annoying to me. I feel like they realized that the original series had comedic elements into it, but they were still kind of played straight, except for the fourth one. And for this new one, they were like, oh, let's lean into the irony Twitter culture of these movies as comedies. And I think it did not work, except for one joke, but I don't want to spoil it. So yeah, I didn't like the tone. Tony Todd's appearance, his final ever appearance in a film, I thought that was handled pretty well. His performance was great as always. But I don't think that was enough to save just how kind of let down I was by this movie. In number 18, surprisingly, is the Silent Night, Deadly Night remake. This is a movie that I went into with lower expectations, and I was actually pleasantly surprised. I have no opinion on the original movie. I think it's a fine slasher, but like, it's not my favorite or anything like that. I think Rowan Campbell did a really good job playing Billy. I like the gimmick of having a little voice that talks to him that he interacts with the whole time. I thought he was like a really fleshed out character, and the way the story went, I was completely not expecting, and yeah, it was just a very pleasant surprise. I like Christmas-themed horror movies when they're done well. So yeah, it was a decent little treat to watch towards the end of this year.
Whiskey for the pain.
In 17th place is Together, which is James Franco and Brie Larson, I think. It's one of several movies this year that are they have a one-word title, and it's about a couple in the woods, and the horror is a metaphor for their relationship. There are 3 movies like that this year that I'm going to be talking about, so I'm going to try and get through them as quick as I can. I did like this movie, but the body horror didn't go as far as I wanted it to be, and I called the twist like literally within 20 minutes, and it wasn't like a thing where like, ooh, I think this is going to happen. I think I got this movie figured out, and you're excited to see if what you assume is true. It was more so, oh, I figured out this movie's trick 20 minutes into it, and now I'm just waiting the whole runtime to inevitably find out that I was right. So yeah, it wasn't bad by any means, but again, a lot of stuff I liked more this year. In 16th place, we have Clown in a Cornfield, which is another big surprise for me this year. I had no interest in watching this movie. I had no expectations. I was like, oh, it's based off of a young adult novel. The title seems kind of generic. The trailer didn't really hook me. But I decided just for completion's sake for 2025, I would watch it. And I was pleasantly surprised. This movie doesn't reinvent the wheel at all. It doesn't do anything new. But I think that the characters were all pretty well written, and the story was engaging enough to hold my interest. And it was a good, like, entryway horror movie. Like, you could show this to, like, your niece or something, and they would get something out of it. I also want to commend this movie for having a really good gay storyline. Because I'm kind of sick of the idea of, like, the story needs to be about being gay. I would much rather just genre stories where characters happen to be gay in them, and it's just presented like anything else. Like, I feel like that's the right way to do representation, and this movie does that. I really like the little gay romance they had in it.
Are you breaking up with me?
It's not you. It's me.
In 15th place, we have Companion, which is directed by, I don't know who fucking directed this, but it stars Jack Quaid and oh my god, she's in Sophie Thatcher. I liked this movie a fair bit. I liked the comedic tone. I liked all the twists and turns. I liked Sophie Thatcher's performance as a robot. Spoilers. Yeah, it was just another one of those movies. Couple in the woods. Their relationship is bad and something happens to them. Again, I'm just kind of sick of that after watching 3 of them this year. But this was still a pretty decent movie, and I would recommend it. It's very easy to watch. I would just recommend, if you can, go into it without knowing that she's a robot. Spoilers.
What are you?
Number Number 14 is Keeper, which is another one of these movies about a couple in the woods who go through... This one, however, was directed by Osgood Perkins, who directed The Monkey this year, which I will talk about, and also Longlegs last year, which I was pretty big on. And I don't think I like this one as much as those movies, but I still think that out of the 3 couple in cabin films, this one was for sure the best. I like the atmosphere, the folk horror kind of vibes. But yeah, it was a decent movie and a worthwhile entry on this list.
I should never come here.
In 13th place, we have Good Boy, which was an indie movie starring a dog as the main character, and that was kind of the gimmick of it. And I think it worked out really well, actually. The dog, Indy, is a very good performer. The fact that you are able to read the emotions in this dog's face throughout the whole movie is really, really impressive. Like, it took, I think 2 years or something like that to film this movie, and I completely get it. Because you're working, the dog actor is not a dog actor. It is the director's real-life dog who is not trained for show business. So, yeah. Really impressive feat of filmmaking. The movie was really emotional. The dog, of course, obviously tugs at your heartstrings, and yeah, it got to me. Though I do gotta say this, I really think it's not fair that the dog who played Indy got nominated for awards and stuff, but it's this dog was licking his genitals in front of the cast and crew, and when Brian Jordan Alvarez does the same thing, his show on Hulu gets canceled. In 12th place, we have Strange Harvest, which I think it had a festival release in 2024, but it didn't release in the US until 2025, so I'm going to count it. I literally watched this movie last night just as I just heard about this. It came out last year. Fuck, I should watch it. So I just did it on a whim just to see if I could, add another number to the list for this video. And I was actually really surprised. I like this movie a lot. This movie is a serial killer mockumentary that has some cosmic horror aspects to it, and I think it was really well presented. The documentary angle, it feels like a real Netflix documentary, and I think that aspect of it was really cool. The serial killer in it, Mr. Shiny, was actually really intimidating, and you are frightened of him throughout the movie, and there are a few standout scenes with him that are actually pretty chilling. Yeah, don't know who made this movie or where it came from, other than fucking Saban Films released it. But yeah, I recommend it. It was a good mockumentary if you're into that kind of thing, and it made it a lot higher on the list than I was expecting.
Hello, brother.
Bill.
The monkey that likes killing our family. It's back. It must be vanquished.
In 11th place, we have The Monkey, also directed by Osgood Perkins, because Neon is letting him release 3 or 4 movies a year, which I am not upset about. I think Osgood Perkins and Stephen King is a really good combination, and I would love to see him direct some more of his writing in the future. The tone of this movie is just complete stupidity. It truly feels like you're watching live-action American Dad or something. The deaths in this movie are all pretty funny. The dialogue, for the most part, was funny. There's a few jokes in there that don't really land. Another appearance by Rohan Campbell in this as a burnout metalhead guy or something. Yeah, just a very fun, crowd-pleasing movie, and it's exactly what you expect when you watch the trailer. We have now entered the top 10, and at number 10 is The Conjuring Last Rites. I know, I'm just as surprised as you are. Before this movie came out, at the behest of a friend of mine, I actually went through and watched every single Conjuring movie because I had never seen any of them past the first one. And that in itself was a pretty fun experience. I might go back and do a separate video just ranking all of those at some point. This movie was actually a pretty good finale to a series that, up until very recently, I had no interest in. But going through them all and then seeing this finale, I did get kind of emotional, realizing, oh, this is the last time that I'm going to see Patrick Wilson's sexy ass and Vera Farmiga and her camp performance as, oh my god, what is that diva's name? Lorraine Warren, the con artist. I came to really care about those characters throughout the previous 9 movies, so seeing them get a good send-off, I was pleased with, although I will say that, this movie really, really runs through the Conjuring formula, because every movie you watch and you're introduced to a family, they're living in this house, this weird shit is happening. By the 10th movie, they know that you know what this formula is, so they speed run through all of that family shit. It was also kind of just funny watching the franchise. I don't want to say get stupider and devolve, but get stupider and devolve. you watch the first movie and the villain is like, it's a demon that is possessing the mother of the family, and the demon makes you kill your children. And it's very, like, personal because you care about that family and stuff. And then in the 10th movie, it's the Warrens versus a haunted mirror. It wasn't a perfect movie, but I still had a really good time with it, and I probably will still keep watching the Conjuring movies even after Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga are gone.
We can bring her back.
In 9th place is Bring Her Back, which was directed by Raka Raka, the duo that directed Talk to Me. They were Australian YouTubers who then transitioned into making movies. Talk to Me was a really, really good movie, so I was looking forward to this one, and it did not disappoint. This movie is heavy as shit and really upsetting and emotional and has a lot of really bleak subject matter. However, all of it is presented very well. It's well directed. The acting is fantastic. Sally Hawkins in particular is really, really great. You feel so bad for the two lead kid characters in this movie. But yeah, it's a really good movie, but not one that I'm rushing to revisit just because of how heavy it is.
Seeking life. I created death.
In 8th place, and this might be a controversial placement, I have Guillermo del Toro's Frankenstein. A lot of people seem to really like this movie a lot more than I did. I have to concede, the performances, the direction, the set design, the costumes, the soundtrack, everything is fantastic. I just don't... There was something missing that kept me from, like, wholly loving this movie, because I'm going to be honest, for a lot of it, I was kind of bored.
And you and me, we fend for ourselves. We're sharks.
I'm nothing like you.
In 7th place is Dangerous Animals. Fucking love this movie. Sean Byrne is 3 for 3. Sean Byrne is an Australian director who made The Loved Ones and The Devil's Candy, and all of his movies so far have a theme of abduction. This one adds in something new by also crossing it over with like a shark movie. Jai Courtney is really good and kind of sexy as the villain Tucker in this movie. I really like the lead character Zephyr. The shark aspect was actually really, really cool, seeing how the sharks were portrayed and how kind of the whole message of the movie is like, oh, these sharks are just like innocent animals doing what they're designed to do. And Tucker is a really sick in the head human who is like using them to do something for his own sick pleasure. Yeah, the movie was really, really tense. You root for all the characters. It was exciting. There's some really good shark gore in it. Yeah, highly recommend. Very, very good movie, and I can't wait to see what Sean Byrne does next.
What do you think happens when you die in a dream? It's time to find out.
Coming in at number 6 is Black Phone 2. This is a sequel to The Black Phone from a few years back, and that is a movie that I actually avoided watching for a long time, specifically because the premise is superficially similar to a screenplay that I have written and hope to direct at some point. And part of me was like, okay, if they're making a sequel to this, like, what would they even do? Because like the characters in that first movie and the story is really wrapped up. And the way they continue it was actually really clever, and I liked every creative decision they made for this sequel. I think the setting of a summer camp during blizzard is really, really cool, and it's a creepy setting. Any kind of winter time setting is always a good location. Madeline McGraw does a really good job as Gwen. She was the standout of the first movie, so making her the protagonist of the sequel I think makes perfect sense. I liked where Mason Thames, where his character went, Finn. Pretty much every character, the way they were developed, I really liked. And the new characters that were introduced, they were also really, really cool. So yeah, really cool movie. I wouldn't mind getting a third one of these. Scott Derrickson's direction is as visually interesting as always. I love his like grainy 8mm kind of snuff film aesthetic. He works into a lot of his stuff. And number 5 is VHS Halloween. This movie did not disappoint. I love the VHS series. I look forward to watching them every single year. The last few ones have been like period movies set in a specific year, and it looks like this one and hopefully the next one are themed around holidays, this one being Halloween. And every short used the concept, I think, pretty creatively, and they cover pretty much all the bases you would expect. Some shorts, I would say, are less good than others, but there isn't anything in this that's like outright bad or not entertaining. This movie got a lot of attention for one of the shorts in particular called Kid Print, and I gotta say, that short is maybe the most horrific thing I've watched in any movie on this list. It was really upsetting and graphic and shocking. And as I was watching it, I was literally just like begging for it to be over. But I mean that kind of in a good way. Like I was like earnestly and authentically horrified by the things that I was seeing on my screen. And that night it gave me fucking nightmares. Again, I'm not saying that I want to watch a bunch of shorts about little kids in a snuff film, but this short about a little kid's snuff film was actually pretty well done.
There's one winner. And no finish line.
At number 4, we have The Long Walk. This is another really heavy movie. I was not expecting to be as emotionally affected by it as I was. I think the cast in this movie is just outstanding. It's a huge ensemble cast. It's with 2 leads, Philip Seymour Hoffman's son, and I think the guy's name is David Johnson. He was in Alien Romulus. Both of them knock it out of the park. You're completely hooked on these characters. The structure of just this big group of people slowly dwindling and getting smaller and smaller. It like every death, you're like, oh Jesus Christ, because you're just like on edge because of what the inevitable is going to be with this story. Like I saw this with a big group in a movie theater, and I'm pretty sure all of us were just sobbing in our seats silently. High recommend. Really, really good movie. For sure, like one of the best Stephen King adaptations, at least of the last like 20 years. It was a really, really good movie. Speaking of Stephen King, I am still working on my video about Welcome to Derry. I will be getting it out as soon as I can.
One day he's gonna follow you home.
Coming in at number 3, we have Sinners, directed by Ryan Coogler, starring Michael B. Johnson. This movie... Is it Michael P. Jordan? Son of a bitch. I said Johnson. Either way, really, really great movie. Probably the best direction of this year. Ryan Coogler is just a really, really, really talented director. Any horror story that is set like in the South, because I'm pretty sure this was filmed in Louisiana, like that always gets my attention, and I like it when it's done well. I'm a big fan of the Interview with the Vampire show, which this is another vampire story, and the way the vampires are portrayed in this is just really cool. I love the lead vampire. I don't want to get that actor's name wrong, but he's also in 28 Years Later. I had never seen him in anything before these 2 movies, and he's also just like super great. Yeah, really recommend this movie. The soundtrack too, like the use of jazz and blues was really cool. That said, there still are 2 movies on this list that I liked even more than this. So, coming in at number 2... I was waiting for this movie since I was a kid. I loved the 28 Days and 28 Weeks movies when I was little, and I always was like, man, how come they never made a third one? And then it finally got announced they were doing it, and I was like, okay, there's no way that it can live up to my expectations. Girl, it might be the best one in the trilogy. Like, it completely surpassed my expectations. It feels a little more akin to the first movie, but it does still have elements of the second one. I love the new story and characters they've introduced. The only kind of knock you could give this movie is that it is an incomplete story because it is part of a trilogy. And the way that this first movie ends is completely not like anything that is in the previous movie. Like it is just something that comes out of left field. That is not a complaint though, because it thematically ties into something earlier, and it's one of the more interesting parts of the movie. If you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing the second one. I'm pretty sure it comes out in like a couple weeks, maybe even next week at the time of this recording. So I will definitely be putting that in the list for best horror movies of 2026. Coming in at number 1 is Weapons. This movie was completely awesome. I went into it, I mean, like most people did, with completely no real idea of what the movie was, just past the trailer, which shockingly, like the trailer for this movie is basically the first 2 minutes of the actual movie. So once I realized that, I'm like, oh, I have pretty much no clue what the rest of this movie is going to be. And that was really exciting. And the way it's structured with like non-linear segments following different characters, kind of Tarantino-esque, that worked really, really well. It also felt kind of Stephen King-esque. We recorded a whole episode on Horror Hole, me and Wyatt, about this movie. It should be coming out at some point, so keep your eyes out for that. I just can't say enough good things about this movie. I really don't have any kind of complaints. It was one of the best theater-going experiences I've ever had, because I got to see it with a huge group of friends on opening night. The theater was packed. It was my 30th birthday. So yeah, kind of the stars aligned for me to love this movie, and some of that might end up, being external sources, like the theater-going experience, but I've rewatched this movie a bunch of times, and it holds up. This is a really, really solid movie. It's funny, scary, adventurous. It kind of feels like a classic horror blockbuster, like Jaws or Nope or that kind of thing. But yeah, really, really cool movie, and overall, a really solid year for horror films all around. I did not watch Heart Eyes, and I'm sure there's a couple other things that I skipped on, but fuck it. What movies am I looking forward to this year? Well, there's Terrifier 4, there's the Robert Eggers werewolf movie, there's 28 Years Later 2, and the movie that I'm not looking forward to is Scream 7. They really need to hang it up, and they recently said something about like an 8th or 9th movie. Like, even me seeing the 7th one is like me attending an autopsy, and I don't want to see what happens after the autopsy, so I will not be seeing the 8th or 9th movies. I'm sorry. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video, and let me know in the comments below how you would rank the horror movies you saw in 2025. Hope you have a good day, and peace out.